We did get some intel from Lala's latest pod that I listened to, and I wanted to share some notes because I think it's interesting.
Yes, I listened to that today too.
So she said Rachel drinking a Coors Light at glamping was a clear indication.
I totally picked up on that too. When she said that, I was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. You never saw her drink Coors Light before.
Right? She also said that everything was filmed before, but there have been some editing to kind of make it make sense. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers and Amanda?
Hi, B, and hi, cocktailers. Today's Wednesday, but happy Saturday because you guys will be hearing this on Saturday. Big news this week with Kim Zolciak Biermann and Kroy Biermann. We have been really kind of following and sharing with you guys the story about their home and all of the question marks around the foreclosure, with the auction. Was it really in foreclosure? Was it not? Nobody could really truly make sense of it because it seemed like it was auctioned off, but then it wasn't publicly listed. So then we thought maybe the bank bought it. And while we still don't know for sure on that front, what we do know is that over the weekend, we received documents that Kim and Kroy, her husband of 11 years, owe $1.1 million in taxes. That is not including any of the penalties or any of the interest. We posted it first, and then the next day it was picked up by TMZ. And then a couple hours later, TMZ announced that they both filed for divorce.
I mean, okay. So I think that I'm naive, right? Because I'm just a regular person living in like an ordinary world. And so I'm always surprised, even though like I shouldn't be. I'm always surprised. But I was especially surprised about Kim and Kroy because if you know anything about them, they just were so attached at the hip. I mean, Amanda, she didn't even drive anywhere on her own.
Right.
You know, I guess, listen, it's true that we see what people want us to see. And certainly that's true because I heard from a source, like when I said to them that I was shocked, they were like, B, are you kidding? Like, he's a huge cheater. And I'm like, when? He doesn't even work. How is he cheating? And then Amanda, today, a follower told me, and again, I guess we'll find out, that he's on Grindr. And yes, I just posted this in Cocktail Party. He's on Grindr, and the person is planning on meeting up with him, or unless they're being catfished. So, right, it's totally possible they're being catfished. But, okay, excuse my ignorance. Grindr is for gay couples, right? Gay men?
Gay men. Well, maybe women too, but the only times I've ever seen it in real life is friends who are men who are gay. So I don't actually know if it's for, you know, for the whole spectrum or if it's just gay men. I don't actually know the answer to that. But
I thought it was for gay people in general. So that would throw like another whole loop-de-loop in it because we were under the impression that he was a straight man married to a woman, which perhaps he's bisexual and we didn't know it. Obviously, you can be in a monogamous relationship with a woman and then when you split, if you're bisexual, look to date a man. I mean, we all know that. My initial thought, okay, when I first heard it, I thought maybe he's going to take the fall for her. I mean, I just always saw him as so devoted and enamored with her. And then the other thing I was thinking was if he's not knowingly taking the fall for her, maybe he's trying to pin it all. Maybe she's trying to pin it all on him, right? So those were like my initial thoughts on it.
Okay. I don't even know. Okay. I'm still reeling from this Grindr news because honestly, to be completely honest, when we got the info about the tea about him being a cheater, I was like, I don't know. I just didn't believe it either. I mean, we've all been fooled.
Well, the other thing the person told me was that he was homophobic. So then you hear the Grindr rumor. I don't know. A lot of people who present as homophobic are closeted themselves.
Here's the thing that is throwing me about this whole thing is like, there's no denying chemistry, and you see it, right? When you see an actor and actress have it on screen, you see it in so many different in real life when people are, you see it with couples, you see it with best friends. And those two always had it. I never got the like, oh, they're just playing up how like obsessed they are with each other for the camera thing. Like, it always felt very genuine. And like, the thing that made me really sad is like, while they weren't necessarily like my favorites, I always loved their love. Like, I just thought they seemed legitimately really obsessed with each other. And I always thought that was really cute.
And they have so many kids.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he adopted her older daughters.
I know.
And then they had 4 of their own, together.
I just wish Kim's psychic/palm reader, do you remember her?
I think she died.
She died, I know. I wish she was still alive so we could get some visibility into what's going to happen next, because she called it all.
She did.
Even when it was like, did not even seem likely whatsoever. She's like, you're going to have a boy, you're going to have twins, anyway.
Okay. Our friends over at the Bravo docket just posted some stuff, and I'm going to share some things that, because, we know very little about a lot of things, but we have this huge audience of people who are experts in all areas of life, and they send in like different things about what the angle could be, because there's an angle here. Okay. So, but here's what Bravo docket is saying, some of which we've posted about, some of which we know. First of all, I don't know what it is with Atlanta and racing to the courthouse. We saw it with Drew and Ralph. And now Kroy and Kim are debating like who filed first, because his was processed at 1:15 p.m. and Kim's was processed at 3:44 p.m. And my understanding is like she's pissed off because she says she was there first.
Is there like a strategy? I don't know. Maybe the cocktailers can help us out with this. Is there a strategic advantage to being the first one to file for divorce?
I feel like in Georgia there must be, because I say that because remember we had the same
with Drew.
The highway chase, the O.J. Simpson style highway chase to the airport. Okay, Kroy is saying that they separated on May 8th, which is the day they filed. Kim is saying they separated on May 30th. So
April 30th.
April 30th.
Yeah.
So in Georgia, a judge can grant a no-fault divorce based on the marriage being irretrievably broken, which means it's impossible to fix, but no fault placed on either party.
However,
Kim and Kroy both pled no fault. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, they both did plead no fault. Okay, I haven't looked at the paperwork.
They both put that amendment that they reserve the right to amend that.
Because and without going into too much detail, I have a dear friend who went through divorce in Georgia, and Georgia is a fault state. So if there is proof of, I don't know all the different ways that there can be fault, but I know that infidelity is one. And if there is proof, such as with like a private investigator or something like that, then you can actually prove fault in a divorce, and it can have an effect on the proceedings in how much money is given, like all of that. So It can really, every case is different, but I happen to know that, again, from a friend's experience.
Well, also in Georgia, you can't be legally separated. So you're married until the divorce is finalized. And if you're dating during the time that you're quote unquote separated, because that doesn't exist in their state, it's considered adultery.
Yes, I knew that as well.
And this is really wild. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Again, guys, this is from the Bravo docket. In Georgia, a jury can decide division of property, child support, alimony, and attorney's fees. Now, if you're a public figure, the fact that a jury can determine that is kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
In the state that she was a housewife in, I don't know. I kind of think that's unfair. I mean, because if the assumption is that these reality stars are playing sort of a role, then she could be judged. You know what I mean? Based on things that she sort of
but
did for TV.
If he's on Grindr, he's fucked. Excuse my language.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, I wonder if that's really him, because I don't think, I would imagine that's like 101 with divorce lawyers in Georgia. Like, if you're on any dating apps, you have to get off right now, because if you're found, that can be found for adultery, and that could be really bad for your case.
Okay, so a cocktailer wrote in and they said, because now at this point, this is again all as we first heard this. So Sunday I post about the $1.1 million owed in tax, plus about $15,000 in state tax. Ton of money. Then the next day you hear the divorce announcement. So everyone's like, okay, this is a strategy. And what somebody said was, in divorce, if there's a lot of debt, you can shift all of the debt to one spouse to take over. This way, only one person has to file for bankruptcy. Again, the cocktailer said some debt can be discharged through bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go ahead and guess this person said that they have a lot of consumer debt, and that's probably why they couldn't keep up with their taxes, because they're spending all this money on credit cards and stuff, but they don't have actual liquid cash.
So we do know that with Kim listing the separation date as 4/30, that could be significant, because we know that the date of the tax lien, the federal one, is 4/11. So you could make a case for her saying, and again, we don't know that this is her position, but you could make a case for her saying, I had no idea, I found out, and so then I considered us separated, which the date of separation is an interesting one. If in Georgia, they're considered married until the day they get divorced. And we read that they're living in the same house. It's always interesting to me when you see a disparity in the date of separation when both parties file.
So they're living in a house that neither of them own. And then someone else said that specific to the IRS debt, there's something called innocent spouse that Kim can claim, saying Croy managed all the finances. This is basically what you just were talking about, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
And she never read a tax return. She can claim she had no idea. It's possible the IRS may remove her. They only consider this if you're divorced. So we know that Teresa and Judy Che tried this, right? But they weren't divorced. And who knows if they would have approved it, even if they were. I would imagine there's a slim chance, because the reality, it all goes back to the fact. You sign your name, you know.
You better read it.
If I sign my tax return and, you know, my husband prepares the taxes and I'm just gambling and drinking wine out of a Solo cup, like I'm still liable. Like, you're still an adult. Which, I'm not a big gambler. I am big on wine, and I've been known to drink it out of a Solo cup. So,
again, no judgments with any of these things. However, like, the law is that if you don't have knowledge of the law, that is no excuse for why you committed a crime. Meaning, just because you don't know something's against the law doesn't mean that you're innocent if you do something wrong.
So I can't rob a bank.
No, you definitely cannot. But, you know, you got to read your shit. Like, anything you're signing your name on, guys. I think
Totally.
that, yeah, it's just.
But, you know, so we were all shocked. I think the general consensus was, I mean, you and I were certainly shocked. I think most fans were. But after we posted the cheating rumors, we saw an old blind from Dumois circulating from 2022 that's very obvious. It doesn't name them, but it makes it, you know, like the kind of blinds that just say it without saying it. Saying that there was cheating, or that they had an open marriage, which again, I find hard to believe, but what the hell do I know? I'm not saying, maybe their marriage wasn't as it seemed.
Yeah.
But I still, somehow in my mind, I said, maybe Croy's taking the hit for her. Now, of course, we see that they're each asking for sole physical custody. They're each asking for financial support. They're both claiming they filed first. It's messy, right? But I guess if you're pretending to get divorced, you're going to make it messy. You're not going to pretend and have a nice divorce.
Here's my thought. I think that the weight of the world came crashing down on them on April 11th with this tax lien. I think they fought about it for weeks. I don't think that this is like them putting it on. I mean, that is so much money to just have to pay in taxes. That is a big hole to dig yourself out of, right? I think, you know, they had been having some other problems. We know that the whole gift box thing didn't go very well. We know that her skincare line has not knocking it out of the park. They haven't had a regular TV show. I believe they had something real. I think their love was real. I think that they are for real done now.
Well, our friend Kiki over at the Talk of Shame found out, posted that all of these defunct businesses, which you've named a couple, there are more than that, are all in Croy's name. Apparently, somebody posted a document that Kiki got her hands on that they're in Croy's name. Here we go. I mean, she met him. She had her salary from, Atlanta, and she was making some money. He was making millions at that time. I believe I read somewhere he had made in his career $14 million, which is a ton of money. And certainly an ordinary person could live on. However, beyond the fact that they spend a ton of money, beyond the fact that they clearly are supporting their 2 adult daughters who also spend a lot and all that, Kim had a huge gambling problem. Again, here's the number, 250,000. I don't know what's the story with this figure, but it's very popular in Bravo these last couple months. But I don't know if it was on the show that she blew that amount of money, but it was publicized. Yeah, if he's the name on, this is just going to be some fight in court. And I do think, Amanda, having marinated in it, I do think that over the course of months, this has been closing in on them. They tried businesses to get themselves to pay off these debts. Clearly, none of them worked out. Then you had the foreclosure, which was publicly blasted. We don't know if the bank owns it now or what, but we do know that they owe the money, $1.1 million, and they're fighting, and their show's canceled. That bullshit. Remember, they tried to float that Ariana had a show, and it was really that she filmed an episode of something that is not even on like TV. It's like a YouTube thing. So all of this adding up, there's no money coming in, and it's a lot of freaking people living in that house for no money coming in, and that could break the strongest of marriages.
Right. Yeah.
There we are, and just look at how ugly it can get because you have Croy's name on it, all the businesses, but you have him at the start of the marriage being the person coming in with the money, more money. It's sort of like, well, I married him and he let me spend the money. It's not my fault.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how well that really holds up in court, but I think the fact that they're both asking for sole custody is also very interesting. That just tells me there's going to be more where they're trying to prove that the other is not a fit parent. And it is very rare for any court to give sole custody to a parent. It's usually when the other parent doesn't want parenting time and they're not fighting it. So that just tells me there's a lot more that we're going to be hearing. So cocktailers, tell us what you guys, those who know and who know specifically divorce law in Georgia.
Yes.
Is there an advantage to being the first to file, what that would be? What you guys think as far as the tax situation, what your thoughts are even on fault and all of that, because I think this is one that we're probably going to be talking about for a while.
One final thought before we move on, because I know we're going to be beating this dead horse, is what makes a lot easier to pay off debt? A new reality show. You know what people want to watch? Kim Rebuild. Could you imagine if they get a reality show and then they make monies off it and then they get back together?
There was a rumor that another family did that to get a reality TV show.
Stallone, right?
The Stallone family. Yeah. That they announced that they were never really getting divorced. They did it all just for press. Who knows if that's true?
Cocktailers also said that, a couple of different cocktailers said to me, look how lucrative Scandival has been. So what if they're just throwing all crazy shit, the grinder, the cheating, the this, the that, because they're hoping for some endorsement deals and stuff that helps them pay their way out of the debt. I mean, all things are possible. Stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. Okay, let's move on to Summer House. We had the engagement and then we had the continued Danielle fallout and reaction to the engagement. We had Robert kind of showing up and then having that chat with Carl. What did you think?
Well, if you're a listener, you know how I feel about Robert. So I thought he was like, are you kidding?
It's so funny because I have to tell you, and knowing what I know,
right?
I actually thought he handled it pretty well. I was expecting him to be really angry and like, but he wasn't. I thought he
First of all, it wasn't his place. He should have said nothing. We want to be happy for you.
No, I did not like that statement at all. It was we want to be happy for you, but we feel like we're strangers.
Because you didn't include us, although my girlfriend has been bad-mouthing Lindsay and you to both your faces and to girls that Lindsay isn't friends with. Come on. You know, just the general gist is this is not playing out how any of us expected.
No.
We all expected Lindsay to be doing something wrong, but I have not seen her do anything except to have a happy, healthy, loving relationship. Listen, Lindsay is who she is, but Danielle was always fine with who Lindsay is, okay? So whether you like Lindsay or not, she isn't doing anything to Danielle. Okay, Danielle feels a little left out. I mean, that's common when somebody... So I can appreciate that Danielle is going through a tough time in her relationship, but she hasn't said that. It seems to me that she expected to be the one engaged, and this is a lot of sour grapes. I did get some backlash from cocktailers who are like, you don't know what it's like to always be overshadowed by your friend. Okay, but that's sort of a decision she made, and maybe her engagement day and party aren't the time to air that out and to complain to out-of-town friends. She has to look at that and be mortified. She should have just stayed home. Robert confronting Carl, I thought it was out of line. No, he wasn't angry and screaming, but he had no horse in the race. He should have sat down, especially because he was out in Montauk doing God knows what. And Carl probably had an idea and kept his fucking mouth shut. Because once again, one thing Lindsay and Carl haven't done throughout all of this and everything is turned around to Danielle and said, you know what? Don't project your relationship issues on us. And they still haven't done it.
I think they have kind of now, but I think it's been because it's been part of the conversation and you can't fault them.
But they haven't said it all. All they said is it's hard because he works a lot. That's not the same as them saying what's really going on, which is she wants to get engaged.
Yeah.
She wants to get engaged. There's rumors that he cheats. They fight all the time. They didn't say that, and we know that that was happening.
Yeah. I think Andy has said, like, do you think there's some projection going on here? I have zero leg to stand on, and I completely admit it. I'm like kind of on neither side. Like they're both really kind of bothering me, honestly. I really hated that we wanted to be happy for you, but statement. I thought that was really a shitty way to put it. I think Danielle's reaction was way out of line. Completely agree with everything you said. I think she has handled it terribly, but Danielle has finally had it with Lindsay kind of not putting their friendship as a priority. And like, I will tell you, I have known girls and women who the second there is a man in their life, they kind of drop everything else. And they're like, now that I have a man, I don't need my girlfriends. And like, I have never liked that behavior. I think that's not my type of person. I don't ever think that that's... And
I certainly agree with that.
I think I can see... I feel like Danielle is reacting to that and projecting, right? And so I think that they can both be wrong to a certain extent. I can kind of feel like I'm kind of on neither side with any of it. But I mean, Danielle's behavior was completely abhorrent and she should be, I'm sure she feels ashamed of the way she acted.
Yeah, I mean, she has to.
Yeah.
Although Andy apparently said, shout out to Bravo Afterthought. She was at Watch What Happens live taping. And, you know, before he answers questions. And he said there that he did a lot of mediating and he was on Danielle's side. So I don't know. What people are saying too, which of course can be the case, is there could be editing going on where we're not seeing stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're not seeing the full picture.
Yeah.
And maybe at the reunion, we're going to hear stuff that Carl and or Lindsay did that sort of make them look bad where we're like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I look at Maya, right? And like Maya to me is beyond fault. Like she has just got, I think, such a great head on her shoulders. We didn't even talk about, by the way, the fact that she was saying either it was this episode or last. So she was like, I just feel something that Oliver is kind of holding back from me. Anyway, stan Maya. I love her. And like to see Maya take Danielle and be like, I got it. I understand. And then also Paige is also very, you know, to see a lot of them kind of being on Danielle's side on this situation when none of them had been really that close to Danielle tells me that there was more going on. We just haven't seen it, to your point. So I don't know. I'm kind of over this whole thing. And I did want to say, I think that Carl handled it quite well. Again, let these people like have their happy times. And I agree with you that Robert was out of his depth. I commended the fact that he was just trying to stand up for Danielle, but God, talk about time and place. Not cool. It's not,
Right.
That's not when you have that conversation, not when they're on their cloud of we just got engaged.
Totally. Yeah, it was very off-putting.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Atlanta. It's so exciting to have it back.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, yeah, listen, I'm always going to miss Nene. It goes with, I still kind of look for her. I miss Portia, especially on the heels of seeing her on the girls' trip where she's shown like the star that she is. And, you know, we're getting an appearance from Kim, but I would be very excited for her to come back. But I still thought it was great. The girls, they hop right back into it. Love a heated Candy. The new girl, is her name Chelsea or Courtney? Something like that. Sheree's friend. The thirst to immediately come, Courtney, right? The thirst to immediately come for Candy. I mean, listen, what I think went down with that is Candy heard that this new girl who's friends with Sheree was filming. And Candy knows everybody. So she was trying to figure out, all right, do I know her? No. Okay, who does she roll with? Who is she friends with that I know?
Right.
And that's how she made that mutual friend connection. And I don't think there was anything malice. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a veteran, 12 years or whatever, on a reality show trying to connect the dots when new girls are coming. She's got to see who's coming for her. And guess what? That one simple question had her come. Because what better way to get airtime than come for Candy and get a heated Candy, which is fine. Candy shouldn't be mad at it because you know what? People love her in that light. And it's nonsense she's heated about, so it's good for her because people were saying she's getting boring.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it worked out for both parties. All of them coming for Sheree's new boyfriend. I mean, Kenya, so shady. What I have to say about that is if it's not legit, right? Because we're hearing that they no longer follow each other and maybe she entertained him just because he was also a figure that, you know what I mean? So it was like more press for them. And especially, you know, she was with the jailbird, so she wants to look that she's with this legit guy. But Sheree, you're interesting enough. You don't need to pretend to be with a guy or even make something more serious if you're just, you know what I mean? Like to present something as it's more serious than it is, which I think we see with Housewives.
I mean, maybe she just needed a little D.
Right. But then you don't have to show him. You don't have to bring him to the party. He doesn't got to be your boo so that Kenya can say he slid in my DM. And it's probably true because he's looking to get on a show. So
did you know what I had never heard of the reality show he was coming from.
I only know it from like, what was it?
Love and Marriage Huntsville. I had to look it up.
So I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. I'm sure I would like it, but there's only so much time in a day. But she's just become a grandma. Her son, Cairo, had a baby. Like, there's plenty to show. She has her business. I love when they showed her in that cute outfit and it said like $225 for the outfit. It's like, girl, it's cute, but you have to tone it down. Like, I can get that Lululemon doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And we know it's not Lululemon quality, so.
Yeah, well, I would hope that it is, but I don't know. Guy seems thirsty. It could just be also like a situation of convenience too, you know, like where.
Totally. For both of them.
Yeah. That's kind of where my mind went. I don't think that they're trying to like throw a whole fake situation. I think they're both getting partially or all of what they need or they're looking for. But she should
know better because she knows who's on her cast and she knows they're going to sniff it out and she knows they're going to call her out.
Or maybe she knows that that's exactly what was going to happen.
And she didn't care because it's a storyline.
And didn't care because it's a storyline. And like, I don't know. I feel like Sheree needs to get her man picker checked because like she's just, I feel like she just strikes out after strikes out after strikes out. Okay. And then we see at the party, at the 40th birthday party, we see Shady Ralph showing up to the party without his wife, Drew, who holds a peach. He does not hold a peach. Drew does. He just comes off as like, and then when they're like, where is she? He's like, oh, she's not feeling well. And they're like, oh, well, it's actually a family emergency. It's just like anybody changing their story like that. He just comes off as such a liar. I don't know. He makes my skin absolutely crawl.
What happened to his book?
Great question. I mean, I don't think he's really going to be be fathering that kid anymore. I mean, if they're getting divorced, I'm sure he's like, I'm free, right?
Yeah.
It'll
I'm just
be-
going to say it. He's trash.
Yeah, it grossed me out. And like, I'm sorry, I don't care. Just such poor form to show up to a party like that just so you can get a little airtime. Just crappy. Let's move on to after Atlanta, Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. That is kind of a mouthful. What did you think?
I was so excited because I loved the trailer. I was very happy with the first episode. Out of the gate, you can see that this cast, they're ready for their close-up. The drama's already in the first episode. The coming attractions for the rest of the season look wild. I couldn't tell. Okay, so maybe you can tell. Could you tell if they come just, I'm assuming they come just for the weekends, but then they were like, oh, you can only get here by plane. And
Yeah,
boat.
I don't
So are they there all summer? Because so many people work remotely now.
remember when we were first talking about this and it was like end of summer and it was like right around, I want to say Labor Day. We had thought that some of the production crew actually just picked up and went from Hamptons
Right.
to,
So maybe they just filmed
I think
like
they
a
go and
2-week
stay
clip.
for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yes,
Right. That
exactly
would make
like a
more-
girls trip kind of situation.
And then if it's successful, which I hope it is because I so far really like it, then maybe they'll do the whole summer house format.
Yeah,
Or maybe not.
yeah.
But here's what's interesting. So we saw Jordan. First of all, this cast is, I mean, one's more beautiful than the next. So we saw Jordan say that she was a Playboy bunny. But actually, Jasmine, Jordan, Shanice, and Bria all met while they worked together as Playboy bunnies.
So there's a Playboy club
Right.
in New York. So I think they actually worked as like waitresses, but that Jordan was also
Yeah, she
a
was
Playboy
centerfold,
playmate
yeah.
in the magazine is the way that I'm kind of.
Right. So that makes
Reading
sense.
it.
Okay. So Jordan was in the magazine as a centerfold. She
Yes.
said she was the fourth and last because we know, it went out of
Right.
circulation, the magazine. First and last Black Playboy bunny. So yeah, they must have worked at the club. I just thought it was interesting that that's how they met because they act like they're all friends that worked together. Well, yeah, they did, but they're all business. Well, I don't know if they're all, but
They all have like, there's like a very, like, it's like a basket because it's interwoven, right? Like some of them were fraternity brothers or went to college together. Like they
Right.
all, that's what I love too, is like, other than Amir is like the one who kind of stood out as not having a tight connection with any of them. The rest of them have all like kind of all go back and have this real organic, like they know each other. And like that I think is going to make this show so much better.
Totally. And we see Bria with her emotional support dog actually lives in Germany. So I found that interesting when I found that out. The party line is she wanted to do the share house, but like clearly you're on a reality show. So you came up from Germany for a couple weeks to, throw your hat in the ring and see if you can get some followers and become an influencer and marry a boyfriend in Germany. Good for you. So far, she's kind of whiny and she's one of those girls that thinks she can skate by just because she's hot. That's how I
Yeah.
see her, and I'm not into that. Shanice's bio, we posted about Shanice, and her bio says she's healing from her last relationship and working through attachment issues. We posted, there was an article where her ex-boyfriend, who is an actor, he was on, did you ever watch the HBO show Insecure?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you? Do you know
I did.
Norman Towns?
I don't. I watched, I want to say like a couple of episodes, so I don't have like a great memory.
Well, he accused her of stalking and harassing, and there was a whole article about it. Obviously, we don't know if he exaggerated, but I mean, it made it to print. So clearly that didn't end well. We see Amir pursuing Jordan. Both Amir and Jordan really stood out to me. I felt like they were going to be two of the breakout stars.
Yeah.
Jasmine, obviously, and her husband, I can't think of his name, Silas, stood out because, they're the married couple. I also thought it was really cool when we found out that Alex, the tall, thin vegan,
Mm-hmm.
is John Legend's cousin.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. He said, I have singers in my family. And in her confessional, Jasmine's like, John Legend? Yeah, that's his cousin. So
Yeah.
we see that Jasmine and her husband are very much the Amanda and Kyle, like kind of like the thread. They have the most connections. They're bringing it all together.
Yes, I think so too. Like, again, having those like real life actual connections, I think is really going to help make this show great. I had no idea about the history of Oak Bluffs. So I really liked hearing that. And then Preston, he said he's gay. He is a gay Black activist, I believe are the words that he used to describe himself. I felt like every time he opened his mouth, he had something super interesting to say. So the first he was saying like why he doesn't like the term Black excellence. I don't know. I just feel like I just feel like I learned a lot from him when he spoke. I think it'll be good. It's going to be.
I'll be tuning in. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's after Atlanta. So that works.
They're all like, they are literally all absolutely gorgeous. I mean, Jasmine talking about how like they lived in her car for a while and now they have a
Right.
show about it. Like there's just some, but now that she's like really running with this wifey role, I think that's a pretty interesting juxtaposition.
I didn't like the husband when he was like called out Jordan and was like, oh, I don't like that. You're her party friend and you guys stay out late and she's married now. I didn't like that at all. And we do see in the like coming attraction, she's like, I'm about to check out. You have to relax.
Yeah.
You did not cuff me literally where I'm attached at the hip to you and I'm not allowed to be my own person. And listen, I shouldn't be so harsh. And that's why first seasons are so good, right? It's his first time on television. He's saying things honestly and open, and they're just married. So I get that they're navigating it.
Yeah.
But I truly hope we see him reel that in because that's not going to be good for him and her and their relationship in the long run because she doesn't seem like the kind of girl that's going to tolerate that.
Right. I do understand it. When you are in a committed relationship, is 3 a.m. like, is that too late to be out? I don't know. I mean, I personally think that if there's good trust and the relationship is good, it should be fine and you should trust your partner. But I think that his feelings are legitimate to say like, well, why does it have to be that late? I don't know. It'll be an interesting conversation when we see it come there. Let's move on to Vanderpump.
Well, I mean, on the most recent episode, Amanda, we're on it.
Yeah.
I saw that, I guess, yesterday. And our boy Larry at Bravo by Gaze posted the clip and I watched it. I was like half watching it because I was busy. And then all my followers are like, B, they're looking at Bravo and cocktails on Schwartz's phone. I'm like, what? And you see Schwartz go, I don't know. She sent me this blogger gossip site. And then when they show the phone, everyone's like, those are your pop-ups. And you know what all the cocktail party people were like, you really should message the Toms and tell them it's a much better experience when you subscribe for $7.50 a month because there's no pop-ups.
There's no ads.
You get extra tea. So side note, this is before we had the subscription and everyone is asking which reality stars or celebs that we know subscribe.
Yeah.
Yes, we know some that do. We will never tell.
Nope.
Ever, ever, ever. The same way I wouldn't tell your best friend if she inboxed me and was like, does Jane Smith subscribe? It ain't her business.
Yep.
So, but I will tell you that yes, we do know that some do. Some we know because they use their name, which isn't like a dead giveaway, but like, they DM us and like they're open about it.
Yeah.
Others they come at me for blind items, Robert, and I'm kidding. His wasn't even a blind item. And again, I wouldn't tell if he was a subscriber, but they come at me and I'm like, oh, thank you so much for subscribing. And they get so mad and they're like, oh no, someone sent it to me. I'm like, yeah, it's a paywall, bud. If someone sent it to you, you had to sign up.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see when all the signups come through and there's definitely been, I mean, it's all different kinds of people. Like there's like very famous influencers and all different kinds of people that it's fun to see that are part of our community. But yeah, maybe we can do some forensic work to figure out which post it is specifically that they're looking at in the video.
Yes.
I really want to figure out, like, I am so fascinated by what all the timing is from all of this stuff because March 1st is the day that we know that Ariana found out about the affair because she sees the video come through on Tom's phone. That's also the same night that Sheena and Rochelle. Sorry, guys.
We broke it Friday. I believe cameras were up.
March 3rd. That was March 3rd.
We broke it March 3rd.
Yes.
TMZ confirmed a few hours later. That was the same day that Ariana disabled her Instagram for a while. My understanding, and again, is cameras were up by that Monday. Like
so
that
before
week.
that, they were up there before.
Well, we did get some intel from Lala's latest pod that I listened to, and I wanted to share some notes because I think it's interesting.
Yes, I listened to that today too.
So she said Rachel drinking a Coors Light at glamping was a clear indication.
I totally picked up on that too. When she said that, I was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. You never saw her drink Coors Light before.
Right? She also said that everything was filmed before, but there have been some editing to kind of make it make sense in the last couple. So like the one that just aired this week and maybe last week, but the ones prior weren't. They've gone back and added previously filmed footage to align it to the Sandoval finale. Nothing was filmed later except Ariana and everybody finding out. That's what Ariana's sticking with. And we spoke about this last week. A follower actually had the theory that LVP had figured it out. Maybe Raquel admitted it to her, and she had Ken say it. And she said, that's true. Lisa doesn't like to get her hands dirty. She had Ken drop the bomb about Raquel sleeping over. Also, and I hope she's getting paid for this, Amanda, Sheena did a vlog on Labor Day, which is the only footage that producers have. And we know that a lot like was revealed on that from that party, and how I think Lala said that her mom heard Sandoval like say, I have no service, and hang up on Ariana, which obviously the mother was there. She knew that everybody had service because everyone else was on their phone. So we're going to get to see that. And that's Sheena's vlog. Don't you think she should get paid?
I hope she does. I mean, she has come off my BEC list because of all of this.
Yes.
My bet she is no longer a bitch eating crackers to me.
Now it's just Rachel. Lala thinks Rachel could get her life back one day, but she'll never be able to be friends with these people again. Lala first brought up Labor Day to Ariana at the Heartspring party because she was furious and cameras went down. She kept saying, I'm not doing this. Ariana texted everyone about the affair the moment she found out. This is interesting. So Tom couldn't manipulate her into keeping quiet.
Oh.
And she also said the finale trailer being leaked was absolutely an inside job.
Inside as in a cast member, or inside as in like a production? So I don't think I think I might not have finished it because I was listening to it in the car today. Did she say?
She just said inside job.
Well,
I feel like Raquel might even do it herself because the attention was dying down. I don't know. What I will say is this. You have Sandoval on tour. Ariana, and my hope, and I know we've said this before, is that Ariana makes enough money off, because she just came out with a Bic razor commercial. It was great. It was like, use the first razor with clog-free technology. I've removed all the clogs in my life, like that kind of thing. But I just hope she makes enough money to buy him out of the house, because that'll torment him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's looking a little worse to the wearer, even more so lately. Than he has.
People are saying he's lying about his sobriety, which I'm not shocked at that.
Somebody said they saw him drinking whiskey last night. And you know what? That's fine. I just, again, like, why we don't need to weaponize sobriety or insobriety or I don't know, whatever it is.
He's also going around at every concert. Everyone's seen it by now, and singing Schwartz's Mom, and then saying, can't you see Raquel is not for me? So he's totally throwing her under the bus. I mean, it does make you like, I don't want to say I feel bad for Raquel because I don't, but basically everybody is thriving. I wouldn't say Sandoval is thriving, but he will survive this, and she is out. Guess that's what happens.
I think she might have to move to a different country, honestly, because again, you've heard me go off on how nobody's going to ever want to even carpool with her. Nobody's going to ever want her around their significant other.
I'm ready for the finale. I'm ready for the reunion. I'm ready to honestly put it to bed. As like Easter egg and wild and interesting as it's been, I'm happy that we're seeing Ariana thriving. That makes us all feel better. But it's like, okay, how much can we deal with these people? I can't look at his Skeletor head anymore.
No, I know. And agreed. Okay, let's talk about Jersey. This was, I thought, a super interesting episode. So we had the whole like Dolores and Frank dinner, that like the whole family dinner, which I thought was actually really sweet.
It was really sweet, except on the after show, Marge came out and said, well, Paulie can buy a ring, but he's, from what I know, he's still legally married. So all he can do is buy a ring. He can't marry her, which was kind of shady of Margaret.
Yeah,
because they're friends. And also, it is often the case that people are separated for years and they're truly broken up, which is what I believe. Okay?
Yeah. And
we would know if Dolo was wrecking the home. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was unnecessary. What was her purpose in that?
You can get engaged even if you're not like fully divorced from somebody else too, by the way. Like,
right.
Again, like sometimes there's just legal issues that hold things up and it gets beyond your own control, right? But
I don't think Dolores is going to be happy with Margaret.
No, I think it was a bad move on Margaret's. I wonder what's happened to make, because I feel like Margaret's pretty
pointed,
pretty careful. Yeah. And so there must be more going on behind more than meets the eye on that. But, Brittany, I thought there were two really cute moments. So one, when she was like, do they speak English where you're from?
Oh my God. I was so embarrassed for her.
Not shocking to me that, like, I don't know. But then the other part I thought was really sweet when she was like, Dolores, will you be in our wedding? Will you be my bridesmaid? I'm like,
I love that.
Modern family. I love it.
I love it. I love it. It is very clear that Brittany genuinely cares for Dolores and values her role in the family. And ditto, it is very clear that Dolores is very happy for Frank. I'm sure she's hoping it works out because Dolores has said, like, I've gotten attached to all Frank's girlfriends because we're so close. I become so close with them. And like, she gets mad at him when he does something because, it's not right. You get, Frank's a scoundrel. I mean, he gets the kids and Dolores invested and attached to a woman and then cheats on her. And then they all lose that woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And like those kids, again, I mean, they should be really proud. So I loved getting to see that. I actually really liked getting to see Jen Aydin doing the apartment for her brother. And like, I thought it was actually very, very cool of her to be like, look, he's been struggling. He had to close stuff down and he was kind of coming back and forth, and like what they could live on in Turkey, they definitely can't live on here. But without
really
her,
smart.
Yeah. But without her doing it in an imperious way, like, look at what I am able to do for you. She did it in a genuine way.
Listen, Jen has so many she's a person who is not black and white. And there are things about Jen I admire very much. I really think she loves her family. It's very evident. She loves her brother. She loves her sister-in-law and the baby. She is a very generous person, as is Bill, for helping them. I also think it was really smart of her because honestly, the next time I see Jen post something and if I like a piece of jewelry, I will absolutely buy it. Like knowing that, because you see people on TV, you kind of get this idea that everyone's got it like that and they have money. And like, her brother seems like a nice person. He has a young family. So if I liked a piece of his costume jewelry, why wouldn't I buy it from him? And I'm sure all Bravo fans will feel that way,
And this is not just for the TV cameras. I follow her and have seen her go on Instagram Live. It's usually later in the evening.
Same.
Late. And then she'll do like almost like a home shopping network kind of thing with his jewelry and sell it on Instagram Live. So I don't think that she was doing that just for show. I think you're right. She's genuinely loves her family and genuinely is trying to help them.
And I also think that, it's easy to get caught up in the things we see about Jen, which we have to remind ourselves are part of a storyline, and having a storyline and being on the show. Nobody wants to watch her just being this generous, wonderful family person. Mm-hmm. But last night I felt she was so relatable for me and how much she adores her brother. And even when she was confiding in her brother about Bill, mm-hmm. That was really hard for her to do. I'm not sure if it's her older brother. I think it is. But as somebody with an older brother, and brothers are by nature protective of their sisters, especially I think in her culture. And it must have been so hard for her because that her family thinks very highly of Bill. It must have been really hard to share that with her brother. And I thought it was very incredible that she did that on camera.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then we have the season-long storyline of Louis and Teresa and Joe and Melissa Gorga. Louis, I think turned a bad corner this episode. He, had been really trying to be this like very namaste. I'm the peacemaker, this guru. I'm going to make everything better. We're all going to stay calm. And he did not seem calm this week whatsoever. And it looks like it gets worse.
I was sad and scared for Teresa when they were in the bedroom having that conversation. She was visibly shaken up. She was looking down as he was speaking about her brother that way. She was crying. She seemed to not agree. And Amanda, I know that you and I discussed this, and we're going to – Louis' old business partner went on a podcast and said a lot of things, a lot of damning accusations. And we're not comfortable covering it here.
Serious shit, guys.
We don't know what of it is true.
Yeah.
So we're not going to cover any of that. However, this is a person who does know him, and it's him, and now you have 2 ex-fiancés and an ex-girlfriend. So it's 4 people who aren't related or in the same family at all. 4 separate people from different times in his life coming out and saying really outrageous, illegal, and frightening claims, okay?
Yeah.
So we have that. We have this behavior, which we've heard about and now we're seeing. And here's the thing that really got me, and the one thing that I'm comfortable talking about from that pod is – he brought to light that Louis has a brother. And the reason this is interesting to me, Amanda, is that we have not heard of Louis' brother. Now, they may very well be in touch. He may be going to the wedding, but he said some shady things about the brother. And again, that's not for us to discuss here. You can Google it. But what I would want to discuss is, in the event that you have a brother, you mention your 2 sisters and your parents and how close you are and how wonderful your family is. We hear Teresa say the same about his family. She is going through, obviously, and has been for many years, troubles with her brother and her sister-in-law. Where's your brother? Why are you not mentioning him? If you were estranged, why are you not mentioning that estrangement and relating to it to say, I know it's hard, I'm estranged from my brother, right? If something's up with the brother, because he only mentions the sisters.
Yeah. This was news to me, too. I don't ever remember him talking about this, about a brother. So I looked it up today because I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I found that Louis indeed has a brother named David, which is really interesting again, because also if you think about what some of the other storylines have been, I mean, it's been about estrangements with siblings. So like it's been a topic of conversation yet again. Interesting that we were deflecting attention off of this, whatever the situation is. But I did find that the brother David, Louis' brothers, he has an IMDb. So that's where you can go to see people if they've been on TV or movies. He has an IMDb account, and it looks like he will be featured in some way on the next episode on Tuesday.
But we don't know.
What
kind of IMDb account? Has he been on other shows or just for this?
No, he just literally so if you go down and you look up a person by their name, it'll show like all the things that they've been on. And it just showed this one episode. I guess we'll find out more. But it's interesting.
He created an IMDb page. The other thing. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Who knows where it came from? It could just be an automatic credit that came from the show.
Oh.
I don't know.
The other thing I found really weird was we remember that Jackie had gone to a Teresa book signing, and Teresa brought it up more than once and said, you're a fangirl, you're a stalker, you came to my book signing, you're a fan, that's why you wanted to be on the show. In the after show, Teresa brings up that Louis' sisters knew who I was because they had come to my book signings. They loved me on Jersey. They were big fans of mine. And when we met and he told her, they were like, we love her. We know we're going to love her. I mean, sometimes you have to remember how naive and in some ways like innocent Teresa is, because her admitting that, like, if you're not a Tree fan, to me, that looks like the narrative that a lot of people say, which is that he sought her out because he wanted to be famous. I mean, she badmouthed Jackie for doing what she loves that Louis' sisters did. Did that make sense?
I told you forever ago, and the Cocktailers, like, I don't believe their story that they just met on the street. I think he purposely set out to meet her however it is. Did he slide into her DMs? Did he find out where she goes to hang out really often and make sure that he showed up there? Did he ask a mutual friend for, an introduction? Something, I think, fully that he orchestrated that meeting somehow. We'll see. It'll be interesting. It looks like next week's going to be explosive. And it was, I thought, very interesting, too, that it's been just so quiet on showing Melissa and Joe. And I think that that's got to be on purpose. So I guess we'll see. But in other housewife news, we've been getting in quite a bit of tea behind the scenes about Salt Lake City. So we know that we have been told by a good source that Mary is indeed on the Bermuda trip, because we did hear that she didn't want to go, which would not surprise anybody. But we're also hearing that Whitney and Lisa Barlow, who ended the last season as friends or at least allies, seem to be fighting on this cast trip.
I mean, I'm hearing it's because Lisa is supposedly making amends with Meredith and Heather, and Whitney is pissed. She feels that, she's betraying her alliance. So, it's never good to become an ally with somebody who you couldn't stand previously.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree. I don't know. I think Whitney is also, I think she's still probably kind of hurt that Heather hasn't given her hasn't given back to her what she feels she's given. I would see a parallel kind of in this whole Lindsay and Danielle situation, right? And now Whitney's had it and is mad and feels like everyone's kind of teaming up without her. So I guess we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
I mean, and yeah, it kind of leaves Whitney on an island by herself. But to be fair, she can't be that mad at Lisa because they were allies. They weren't true friends. If anything, Lisa has wanted to repair her friendship with Meredith. So, I mean, that's her real friend, right? Mm-hmm. And I would expect her to do that, to be quite honest. But I guess we're going to see how it plays out. I did have a follower who saw them in Bermuda. They said that the new girl at dinner was causing a scene and very dramatic. There definitely was drama and tension going on. So,
well, it is a housewife show. So
yes,
and I think they probably are all feeling the pressure to be like, we better put on a good show because this could be the last season if we don't. So we'll see.
Cocktailers, it's been real.
It's been real. Thanks for putting up with my inability to say words today, guys. I'll try better next time. I think it's just, again, it's one of those days. It must be like a Mercury in retrograde kind of day or something like that.
It is. It seems it is.
Well, we love you guys. And thanks everyone. Guys. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all of you who are mothers, who have mothers, who have passed. We are thinking about you guys.
Who are aunties.
To
every woman who plays a role in shaping a life, which basically every woman plays a role in shaping a human or animal life. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Till next time.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at @bravoandcocktails_. And check out the website because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.